Are the Toronto Maple Leafs on the verge of making a game-changing move before the trade deadline? Rumours are swirling that the Leafs are targeting a skilled defensive centre who could not only bolster their lineup, but also relieve some pressure from their star forwards. This could be the key to finally getting over the playoff hump. Make sure to stick around, subscribe, and hit that like button to stay updated on all the latest Leafs news. According to recent insights from Jonas Siegel of The Athletic, the Toronto Maple Leafs are keen on acquiring a defensive centre before the NHL trade deadline in 2025. This move makes a lot of sense, especially considering the pressure on Auston Matthews and John Tavares during the playoffs over the past few years. The idea here is to find a player who not only excels defensively, but can also contribute offensively, allowing Matthews and Tavares to focus more on scoring rather than defending against top opponents. One name that stands out in this discussion is Scott Laughton of the Philadelphia Flyers. He embodies the kind of playoff-style player the Leafs could use. Laughton has the ability to step in as a reliable third center, which would alleviate some of the burdens on Matthews and Tavares, especially when facing tough matchups. Currently, Laughton is playing wing for the Flyers, but his natural position is center, which could provide Toronto with some much-needed depth. Imagine the potential lineup if the Leafs could land Laughton. With Mitch Marner thriving even without Matthews, it opens up opportunities for other combinations. Perhaps Toronto could reunite Max Domi with Matthews while placing Matthew Knees on the other wing. That would create a more balanced attack and give coach Craig Berube the chance to develop a stronger third line featuring Laughton, Bobby McMann, and Nick Robertson, or even Holmberg. This would not only strengthen their defensive capabilities, but also enhance offensive production. From a financial standpoint, acquiring Laughton makes sense too. He carries a manageable cap hit of $3 million, which is certainly within the Leafs' reach. However, to make this deal work, they might have to make some tough decisions regarding their current roster. For instance, they could place Jani Hakanpää on long-term injured reserve, which would free up some necessary cap space. Additionally, moving a player like Ryan Reeves, who has a $1.3 million cap hit, could provide further relief. But the most logical trade might involve David Kampf. With a cap hit of $2.4 million, he could be moved to a team willing to absorb that salary. If the Leafs can pull off this trade without complicating their salary cap situation, it opens the door to not just acquiring Laughton, but potentially getting a mid-round draft pick in return for Kampf, which could be useful in the deal for Laughton. Now, I can't help but wonder if this is the right path. Are we putting too much stock in bringing in another center? Do we really think Laughton is the answer? I'm honestly torn. While he could certainly provide the defensive reliability we desperately need, will he truly elevate our playoff chances? And for those of you following along, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you believe acquiring Laughton is the best decision for the Leafs? Or are there better options out there? I genuinely want to engage with you all on this. Drop your opinions in the comments below. The Toronto Maple Leafs are facing a pressing issue on their blue line, and that issue is Simon Benoit. As we delve deeper into this situation, it's clear that the coaching staff can no longer overlook the significant minutes he's been logging, especially with the team approaching the halfway point of the season. This year, the Leafs have been relatively lucky with injuries on the back end compared to last season, having only dressed 9 defensemen thus far. However, with Timothy Liljegren already traded and Jani Hakanpää dealing with a long-term injury, it's opened the door for players like Connor Timmins and Simon Benoit to take on more regular roles. Benoit has suited up for 35 games this season, recording 4 assists, a +2 rating, 95 hits and 45 blocks, averaging 16:43 of ice time. On the surface, those numbers might seem solid for a bottom-pair defenseman, but the underlying metrics tell a more alarming story. In terms of even strength play, the Leafs are over 12% better with Benoit off the ice. His expected goals for percentage, or XGF%, sits at a dismal 41.1%, while the team's jumps to 53.6% when he's not on the ice. Those are staggering numbers that can't be ignored. To make matters worse, his on-ice shot attempt percentage, known as Corsi, ranks dead last among Leafs defensemen who have played over 50 minutes, sitting at just 38%. Similarly, his Fenwick percentage, which measures unblocked shot attempts, is only slightly better at 40%. For comparison, his depth defense counterparts, Timmins and Myers, are tied for third in both categories. Boasting respectable figures of 47%, Benoit is also last in expected goals against per 60 minutes, shots against per 60, and his expected goals against differential is a staggering 15.6. The second worst in this category, Jake McCabe, is at 4.5. This paints a clear picture of a player whose presence on the ice is not translating to positive outcomes for the team. As the Maple Leafs continue to seek a solid bottom-pair defenseman, it's becoming increasingly apparent that they might need to make a move sooner rather than later if Benoit's performance doesn't improve. While he does offer depth, it seems more fitting for him to serve as a rotational piece rather than a daily starter. So, where does this leave us as fans? It's a tough situation to digest. The management is clearly eyeing potential trades, looking at names like Luke Shen and Cody Ceci. The hopes are high, and the stakes are even higher. Are we confident that this is the right direction for the team? I'm honestly torn. On one hand, we want to support our players, but on the other, we need to see results that translate to playoff contention. And you, what do you think? Is this the best path for the Leafs moving forward? I want to hear your thoughts and feelings about this in the comments below. Are you optimistic about potential trades, or do you think the solution lies within the current roster? Remember, every decision made right now could shape our future, and that dream of finally lifting the cup is always on our minds. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for the latest updates. And make sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any essential news about our beloved Maple Leafs. Your voice matters, and together we can navigate these highs and lows as passionate fans. Let's keep this conversation going.